I think we're live. I think everything's working tonight, which kind of surprises me. I'm going to wait and make sure I get feedback from you guys that everything is going well, but so far it kind of looks like we're okay. Let's see. Starving Artist Collective said, yes, we can start our week up again based on Lisa. Hi, Carol. Hi, Mary. Gonna wait, just make sure I get all clear that everything is going. Hi, Alana. Okay, Joseph says that audio is live, video is live. I'm not recorded. Thank you for asking. We're good. Okay, so this project is going to be a big one for me. Okay, I'm hitting my desk. There's like a little, anyway. So I want to do another painting, kind of like what I did with my lion. Let me show you that just so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. Let's see. Was it in this one? Yeah, there we go. So here is the lion that I'm talking about, that I want to do something that's kind of similar in that, I don't need this, go away, with the coral and the fish and just kind of combining a whole bunch of stuff together. So that's the plan. But this time I'm going with a flamingo. There will be a portion that's underwater and overwater on his leg. And is it lunar moths, those really pretty green ones? Those are the elements I know for certain that I'm planning to include. I don't know what else. What we're going to do tonight is just start blocking things out and trying different backgrounds. Actually, I already know I'm going to do the same background I have on this one, but trying some different things out. And when I'll end up like taking a break and then coming back later and finishing it not on camera, but at least you guys will get an idea of what I do to put together something that's this elaborate. This painting that you're seeing on the screen here, that one took me 3 weeks. 3 weeks for, I don't know, 6 weeks. It felt like forever. I don't even remember now. I want to say it was 3 weeks. I could totally be wrong on that. Maybe it was longer, but this piece is going to be similar, but bigger. It's going to be done on a 30 by 40 inch Belgian linen canvas. It's a box canvas, so they're really thick. And the reason that I'm going with a box canvas versus a normal like 3/4 inch canvas like this one was, is the box canvas doesn't need to be framed. You just hang that on the wall as is. And 30 by 40 inches, not a standard size. I would have to have something custom made for it. I mean, I've moved beyond the full-blown starving artist thing, but I just can't get my head around paying for custom frames. They're so expensive. So that is what I'm doing there. Clarifying artist, yeah, oh, good point. So she said, congratulations. I can't talk. I need more coffee. 300,000, congratulations, or great job, congratulations. Thank you. Yes, my channel hit 300,000 subscribers, I think yesterday while the new video went up. There's like a hair that is tickling me on my neck. I don't know where it's coming from. But anyway, yes, yay, I'm excited. You've got an echo going on. Let me see if I've got, you're going to have an echo in here anyway, but I've only got one mic going. If someone else can let me know how bad that echo is, because it may just be an issue of things echo in this room. I don't think I've got anything else on my screen playing. Nothing that should be. Don't need that. So I don't know why you would have an echo. I've got nothing. Let me know. Okay, no echo there. Okay, so you guys are good. Let's see. Okay, so the plan for tonight, I've chosen the canvas, and initially I was going to do this as a smaller project. I was going to do it on the same size that I did the sea turtles, the long thin, but I was going to go the opposite direction. This time, however, hi Gabrielle from Australia. This time my plan is, it was just going to be the simple, like a 1 week project. And the more I thought about it, I just kept getting ideas and thinking, I want this on my own wall. I think this painting is going to go right outside. I've got French doors that open into the entry hallway from my office. And I think that's going to be the painting that's going to go right on that wall. So it may end up in the living room. I don't know. But this one is going to be one that it's important that it's stuff that like I connect with, if that makes sense. So anyway, I've talked a lot. Let's get started. Shelly said, so excited to see how you design. Just did my first layout in Photoshop for a 30 by 40 inch. Oh my gosh, we're doing the same thing. Got it done by some miracle. Didn't know what I was doing. That's awesome. Okay, thanks, Joseph. Okay, so we don't need that guy right now, but what I do need to do is start a new project. We know we need the 30 by 40 inches. And so what I'm going to do, just to keep my dimensions right, and this is going to be way too large, so I'll go back and shrink it after I make this file, which is going to be huge. Now I'm going to change the size on that, and I'm sure there's faster ways to do it, but this is how I do it. That wasn't what I just meant to do. What just happened there? Okay, let's start that again. New project. I think I just closed it. There we go. Okay, there we go. Image size. So I'm just going to shrink this down now. I would say 1500 pixels is probably more than enough. But what would happen is if I left that as big of a file as what I did, like this keeps my dimensions exactly what my canvas will be. But if I had left it as big of a file as it was, my computer would have been slow and angry and, well, slow and angry. So let's go ahead and blow you back up. There are my dimensions. Now I know that I want to use the flamingo. It's the one that those of you who are on Patreon, you got this one this month for one of your Patreon reference. Well, technically, February. It just went out though for your Patreon reference photos. Thanks, Heather. Yeah, I'm loving that new storage, and it smells good when you open it, like the smell of real wood. It's amazing. Let's see. Melinda said 3 weeks. I have trouble with 3 hours. Which Photoshop do I use? Whatever is the current one, because with Photoshop, it's not like it used to be where you just went and bought one. You are on their subscription thing where it just whatever is current is what you have. So I have a link. I have an affiliate link to the Photoshop Pro plan, whatever. If you want to use that, for most people, Photoshop and Lightroom are the only two programs you would really need. And I want to say it was $10 a month, something like that. I don't remember now. I pay more because I have to have Premiere Pro for video editing. Don't have to have it. It's one of those I need it things. I like it. I use it. I pay an insane amount of money for it. So, but Photoshop and Lightroom are the two that I would recommend most artists have. So let's see. I need to get my flamingo out now. So we're just going to drag and drop him on over there. Let's just stretch him out so he's big. There we go. He's not going to have his bracelets in our piece. Hold on one second. Will I reproduce this picture exactly or just as an inspiration? Well, given that he's going to have it's going to be surreal. There's no photo in the world that is what's in my head right now. So it will be based on this. Leah said, I was working on a piece and got stuck, said, what would Lisa do? Or WWLD, what would Lisa do? That's awesome. Joseph said, when I did graphic design for a local newspaper, one of the reporters sent in a photo saved at 170 inches wide. Took 3.5 hours to load into Photoshop and couldn't do anything else. Oh my gosh. Oh, that does not sound fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and enlarge this quite a bit. We're going to go ahead and outline. I'm going to actually enlarge him even more so I can really zoom in. And there are different ways that you can crop. This is just the one that I typically go with. It's easy enough. Well, there's two that I go with. One is erasing areas and one is with just the cutout tool. And I'm just going to cut things out right now. Let's go ahead and get him ready. There we go. So first thing I need to do is cut out my flamingo. And unfortunately, I'm doing the whole body. So this is going to take a little bit of time. So let's see what we can chat about while working on this. Will this be for colored pencil? No, I don't see myself ever doing a 30 by 40 inch colored pencil piece. I mean, I like colored pencil, but I don't like colored pencil that much. That would take a year for one painting probably. Now this is going to be acrylics and airbrushing. So usually a lot of the times with my Patreon videos, I don't use the airbrush as much as I might like to, just because I want to make sure, I try to like the cherries that we did for this week that just went up. In that case, yeah, that shadow, so much about that would have been easier with the airbrush. I'm almost tempted to do another one as just an airbrush lesson. But I don't need 2 pixels actually. Hold on. I have this more than what I need. I would rather that be sharp. 1 is enough. Okay. But on this one, I will be using every good technique, like all my best supplies, all my best techniques. And while in Patreon, I do try to keep things, I mean, we use the airbrush often enough, but I usually, if I can easily do it without an airbrush, I leave it out just so that those who don't have it can see how to easily do it. I mean, I guess it depends on what I'm doing. This one, there's gonna be a lot of airbrush. I will use all of my best tools on this one. This is going to be definitely, if things go well, oops, I did not do that well. This is not starting out well. Going to be one of my better paintings, or at least one of my paintings I'll say that I put more effort into. And to me, it'll be one of my better paintings just because it's what I want, if that makes sense. Like, I'm doing it for me, so it's going to be stuff that I love that I'm going to include, which makes it, to me, one of my better paintings. I guess that's the better way. Oops, there's a toe right in there, I think. Let's just go ahead and erase that. Now, I with Photoshop, or if I use this tool, I do it in chunks because sometimes you'll get all the way around and it jumps and decides it wants to cut in an area you don't want it to. So we're just gonna, I think that's a toe. I'm gonna have to look at the original photo. Unfortunately, this photo, I took it back in 2015, and so this was done with my not as good of a digital camera. And so and back then I did not shoot RAW. Everything was JPEG. I didn't understand. I didn't use Lightroom, so I didn't understand how amazing Lightroom was when you shoot RAW. So this one, you know, I'm losing. I don't have all the information on the file because it is not a RAW file that I did on or do on new ones, but I still really liked the angle and everything. Other thing that's kind of interesting on this one, when I took this photo, I never included it. I don't think I ever included it in anything for Patreon. I mean, it was, the photos that went up this week were from 6 years ago. So there's a chance that I've shared some of them before. But this one I don't think I did because I didn't think it was good enough. And that's kind of funny because when looking at it again with like fresh eyes years later, I saw exactly what I wanted to paint from it. So whenever I have taken photos, I don't just delete them thinking, oh, I'm not going to use this. Because unless it's just such a like bad quality that I can't see any like the information I need on the photo. But like this one, I saw in going through all those photos, I found so many photos that I was not interested in 6 years ago. And now when I looked at them, I absolutely loved them. Like this one I saw and it was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. Let's see. Let me scroll up. Alana said, any way we can see the tool you're clicking on? Right now, we're only seeing the image area. So this is the Lasso Tool, but it's the polygonal Lasso Tool. Unfortunately, my options right now are show my cursor or don't show my cursor. Either way, I'm going to irritate people. But it seems to irritate people more when I show my cursor, so I'm not. But I'm just clicking around to cut these areas out with that polygonal. Can you not see on that? Hold on, let me make sure you're able to see what I have. Oh, you can't. Hold on. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can't. Okay, hold on. I did not shrink this the way it was because you should be able to see that. That would be helpful. There you go. Now you can. Hold on, I've got to change a couple of things. I didn't realize this was not quite zoomed the way I wanted it to be. There we go. There you go. Now you can see what I have highlighted. That should help. So right on the little, well, you can't see my mouse, but 3 little buttons down, polygonal lasso tool. Okay. Sorry, I should have pointed that out. I didn't realize that wasn't on screen, so sorry about that. I'm glad you guys pointed that out. Okay, yeah, Nick knew. Let's see. But you're doing digital painting, not normal paint. No, this is if you're talking to me, this is going to be a acrylic painting. This is not a digital painting. I'm using Photoshop to design the work, and I will do digital paint like draw and sketch and such. I've got my walking tablet next to me to come up with the design, but the actual painting will be done on canvas. Let's see. I need to do another digital one. You said I would be switching between the polygon and magnetic for large areas. You know, I'm sure that's a great idea, except I don't know how to use, like I'm not gonna try new tools because I never used the magnetic one for the first time on a live stream. It would probably be even slower than what I'm doing now. So we'll just go ahead and do this because it's what I'm familiar with. But I'm sure you're right. I'm sure people are gonna watch this who Photoshop more than me and are cringing, like there's such easier ways to do that. But for what I'm doing, it's what we're going with. I probably could have cut him out before, but I also wanted to start this project on the video like completely from scratch so you could really see the whole, like, what I do there. Even here, can you see? Okay, so there's an area under his neck, and you can see this glowy highlight. Oh, I'm so adding aqua in there, and it's gonna look amazing. I'm excited about this paint, like seriously excited about this painting. Okay. Let's see. Magnetic auto moves to contrasted areas like the leg against the green water, but when colors are close in value, it gets iffy. Gotcha. Maybe I have played with that before, but I'm not familiar with it enough that I think it would actually help me right now. I think I would be screwing around with it, trying to make it work because I don't know what I'm doing. See, that's the cool thing with Photoshop. I'm not a pro, but you can make it work. You don't have to, I mean, you're going to have to spend some time playing with it because there are a lot of options with Photoshop. One of the things I like about Photoshop, and I do the same thing with Adobe Premiere Pro that I edit my videos with, because so many people use it, if you have a problem or a question and you're like, how do I get this to work? Like, I needed to smooth out some of my footage because from yesterday's video, I had taken it with my cell phone and it was a shaky, like it was so bad. It was worse than I thought it was. And I thought I was being all like holding it smooth. No. And it's still shaky in the video, but you can figure out, I just do a Google search, like how do I smooth video footage? And it tells you go use, you know, warp stabilizer, whatever, image stabilizers. And so it's very easy when it's a product that a lot of people use. It's very easy to find solutions for online when when you are having a hard time with things. So I don't typically use really obscure programs. The obscure programs may work, but I don't have time like to spend forever figuring out why it's doing something weird. Whereas with Adobe products, for the most part, other than Lightroom taking up too much space on the hard drive again, with Adobe products, it's just, there's so many people using it. It's very easy to find answers to, like, if I don't know how to do something, I just do a Google search. How do you do fill in the blank? And there's going to be an answer right there. So it's really easy. Daniela said, hi, glad to see you're back. I'm thinking about going all in and creating a website to sell my art. Any tips on where to start when creating a website? It is interesting you bring that up. So I talked to Wix. Actually, did they get back to me today? Hold on. I emailed them last night, but everything keeps going to my spam folder. So let's just check this really quick. No, I have not heard back yet. We'll see. So I was contacted by Wix about wanting to do a sponsored thing on my channel. And so one of the things I thought would be cool if they did agree to whatever, like if we come to an agreement, I would like to pick somebody who has a really solid body of artwork. And originally I was like, oh, we could do a contest. No, it needs to be something that I know I can work, like get the information I need from the person quickly and easily, and like that they'll be available when I need them for the live stream and all that. But I'm going to take somebody else because I like my website. I'm not switching to another type. But Wix is a good platform. And so I thought it'd be kind of neat to take something like that with Wix and do a build during these live streams an artist website from scratch. So we can go over everything from like what you should write on your about page, and we can come up with something like that together. We can come up with, how to build the gallery on your website. We can do all of that stuff on a live stream. And even though I'll only be building one for one person, it won't matter because that video and that content is going to help anyone. Even if you weren't using Wix, let's say it was you were doing it on a completely different one. While mine wouldn't work as far as the tutorial goes, it's still going to be the same information that you would want to create your own website with. There are artists out there, actually Colored Pencil. There's somebody who is involved with, is it Colored Pencil, CPSA? I forget who. But they claim that they'll build, well, I mean, they do build the website, but they'll build artists' websites. And there's some of the worst websites I've ever seen in my life. They look like something out of the mid-90s. Like they're horrible design, which I'm not sure how an artist is able to design a website that is that visually unappealing. We're artists, like creating visually appealing things is what we do. So it's impressive to me. But yeah, this person charges an insane amount of money and builds these artist websites, and they're horrible. They're absolutely terrible. So I'd like to do something and kind of show you guys how to do it on your own and talk about stuff that you may want to include or don't want to include, colors to use, colors definitely not to use. So I thought that would be a really cool thing, and hopefully we will be doing that semi-soon. But we'll see. I mean, I'm in talks, I guess, right now with Wix, so we'll see. Am I outing things that I shouldn't? I don't know. We'll see what they do. But even if it's not with them, I could build a separate one. And the thing with Wix that would be cool is if I build one for another artist, I can build it and then hand it over to whoever I do it for. So it's then their website to continue on with. But even if we don't do that, technically, we could do videos maybe like, and I wanted to do this anyway, and we can still do this too, a artist website critique. So you guys can, kind of how we do the critique art videos, but we can do where you send me your websites and I can critique those. So that is also a possibility. And just to be clear, it's not like I'm saying my website is the best website in the history of the world, although it has won awards and a word. But it's, a lot of the websites out there for artists they're questionable. They could be better. I mean, mine could be better too. So like I said, I'm not saying I'm like the master of all websites, but you know, it doesn't take a whole lot to make them a whole lot better. Okay, we're almost through this guy. The rest of the stuff we cut out shouldn't be as bad as him. He's just big. Let's see. Simon said, graphic design is my passion. And apparently caps lock. If only people, like if you're watching this video after and you don't see the chat, you won't know why I said that. But it's like every other letter is big and small and big and small. Anyway, Shelly said, yes to the website, I'm interested. Joseph says, sending mine now. Wix is similar to WordPress. Like as the user, kind of, but no. It is set up in a way where you've got templates to choose from and it's very easy to go. And they've got different, I haven't looked at Wix in a while, but I know that they were good, years ago. So I'm just assuming it's still good, but they are set up in a way that like you've got a template. You're not having to do any coding or anything crazy that you might not know how to do. So like building a website back in, well, like the early 2000s, heck, up until like, gosh, until WordPress really took off with the themes. Building a website was a pain in the butt. Does anyone remember the old Angel Fire websites? That was my first website. But you have, there we go. Let's delete this. It's kind of the similar in that you've got different templates that you can choose from and you just type in the information you want, upload the photos, and it kind of goes with those templates. WordPress, at least how it was, now there is a possibility something changed with Wix since I've looked at it, but WordPress it's a bit more flexible on what I can do in WordPress than Wix, but I haven't used Wix in forever. Most people don't need as much as what I wanted from a website, so Wix would be fine for most. Hi, Tammy. Let's see, where are we? Scrolling up. Starving Artist Collective said if Wix falls through, build one on WordPress. Yeah, now if I could do it on WordPress, it's not something that I'm going to hand over to somebody else. I would just kind of be building a faux website, I guess, because I would just build it off mine. But no, maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I have high hopes for Wix. Has contacted me before and I was just busy and never got back to them. So I'm sure that I would be surprised if that didn't go through. Because I think I really do want to do it because I think it would be a good video. Like you guys are obviously already interested. So it would be good for live streams. So let's move all of this out of the way. Okay. Now, let's see how big we need him. He's got to be pretty dang big. That's kind of nice. Now, one of the things that I like to do quite often, although that's probably a little bit in. We'll see. One of the things that you can do if you do struggle with understanding or having a good concept, like really getting good balance, if you don't have a natural eye for balance. So people will often say that with art, it's something either you have it or you don't. Bull. Not true at all. You can learn to do it. I am not a plumber, but I could learn to be a plumber. Does it mean I have a natural instinct for knowing what? No, but I don't know if that's the best example, but you have to, you learn the skill. You can learn all of that. Having a natural eye for balance, that is something that I think you have or you don't have. However, even if you don't have it, you can fake it. And I'm going to show you how. Sometimes I do this. I don't always need, let's see, where do I have this saved? I think it's here. Let's find the rule of thirds. I don't remember where I have this saved. Also, did I spell that? No, that is right. We're going to wait forever because it's on a very large file, or a very large drive, I should say. Come on. Come on. You're almost there. I didn't save it as that, is it? I probably should have looked up a rule. Yep. Okay, it's not there. Let's try rule. There we go. Okay. So one of the things that you can do if you do struggle with your side or getting good balance is you can drag the rule of thirds. And I don't think this is going to be super useful for me in this one, but I do think that that's something that can be very helpful if it is something that you struggle with. So if you're unfamiliar with the rule of thirds you just separate your canvas or sheet of paper or whatever into these 9 boxes evenly. So 3 going one way, 3 going the other. And see these green spots? Those are your hot spots. Ideally, like the focus, let's say it was a focus of an animal. I would want the eye in pretty dang close anyway to one of those spots. So those, I call them hot spots. I don't know what they'd actually be called, but you want the main, something along that. You kind of want to balance things out with this. And it's not just that you want something on one of those hot spots. It's also just like you don't typically want to just center the subject, maybe have the main focus of it on one of these lines. You can use this to balance stuff out. So what I will do, if it is something I'm struggling with, is pull this in there, and you can now more easily move your hold on. I always grab the wrong thing here. Nope. Is it this? I forget what you push. Nope, that's not it. To get the previous, nope, that's not. I just undid a bunch of stuff. You are not working with what, here, we'll just move, that'll work. Let's see. So I could move him around and say, okay, does it look better if his body is kind of on one of those hot spots? And maybe it will. I actually won't know until I start putting the rest of the elements in this because I'm putting so much into this piece. But that might be a better balance. We've got his head that's kind of close to the bottom. I'm pointing, you can't see the bottom little hot spot there. His body is in the upper hot spot, and this is a nice balance that does work. So that is something that you can use if it is something that you struggle with. And sometimes even if it's not something I struggle with, I've always been good with balance, but sometimes I want to double check and say, I'm kind of wondering, should I move it a little to the left, a little to the right? If I'm ever in one of those indecisive moments, I'm indecisive. If I ever hit that, I can throw this up there, and whichever one lands closer to the rule of thirds, it's like, okay, sold. That's what it's going to be. So that can be a really helpful thing there. Okay, so let's see. Sheila said, I played with learning how on my phone Photoshop mix, and I actually am familiar with what you're doing there. I'm so impressed with myself. Thanks for teaching me more. Nice. Let's see. Daniela said, that sounds like exactly what I need, a crash course in. What are your thoughts on certificates of authenticity? Kind of pointless, honestly. They're fun. That used to be a big thing, like with collector's items. Like I used to collect stuff from like Franklin Mint or whatever, little like whale things. I don't know. These little, I still have them somewhere. These little round jewelry boxes that were a music box or a little like this, and they had, I forget, it was some marine artist. I don't even remember who now. But I used to collect those, and it was worthless if you did not have the certificate of authenticity. So one of mine got broken, and I replaced it, but there was no certificate that came with it. It was somebody else who was selling it on eBay, so I was able to replace it, but not the certificate of authenticity. Therefore, that one is worth less than all my others. So there was something to that, but when it comes to original art, the buyer might like it. I used to do it. It didn't get me any more sales, but it was kind of a pain in the butt for me to do and keep track of. So I don't bother with them. Sarah said, I vote for the website tutorial. I've had one for a while, but I'm excited to see what I can learn. Jean said, so you're creating your model. What will you put behind? What environment? Marsh forest style with the trees. Okay, so it's going to be very similar to my lion with the coral around his mane. It's going to be the greens. And actually, I shouldn't have closed that out. Let's pull him back up because I'm just going to copy that and make it easier for myself. I don't remember where I stored this file. That's not what I need. It might be, I don't remember which, I'm trying to think which computer I had when I painted that, because that would let me know where it is, but I don't remember. So let's go with this and see if I can find it, because I actually should have some photos. It would make my life a little bit easier right now. There we go. This is the folder I need. Do I have any good photos of the background? Look, I've got Aaron Blaze. I was looking at his lighting, so I saved these photos. He has the best lighting. So I was looking at that to give myself ideas on my lion. I didn't use them, as you can tell, because I didn't do interesting lighting. But I did I was just looking at his, and that's why you're seeing that on there. Sometimes I'll save stuff just to look back at and get that inspiration of the way the lighting is done. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like I have social media posts or any of those. Actually, this one will work. Let's pull you in, and I want these green colors, and I'm just gonna fill that up because it's gonna be something very similar. And I can just fill this in really quick. We'll do some photo or some painting on the tablet. There we go. Let's see. Alana said, I built my first website in college with Dreamweaver. Oh my gosh, that program. Me and that program, I used it once, or like for one site theme that I built once. And I was like, no, I'd rather do HTML on my own. That was easier. Let's see. Joseph said, I built it both on Wix and Weebly, almost identical, and they are very well-crafted tools for building. Yeah, I did one year, and I don't even remember why I did it. But I did a website on one of those and or messed around with. Maybe I was looking at it for my own, but I was pretty impressed with it. Actually, you know, it might be easier. Let's just do the clone stamp. Yep, that will work. That way I still get the blotchy look that I want. So I'm just doing a clone stamp from what this is, and this is going to be in my background. And this is from my other painting, that lion painting, and I want to do a very similar background. It doesn't need to be exact, but I want close. And so I'm just going to cover this up so I can stick this behind my flamingo, and then we can start figuring out what to put in. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Stop it. Stop it. What are you doing? Stop it. Why are you freezing? Oh, please don't freeze on me. Oh, Lord. Okay. My computer's been having some issues. But it was okay. Now, this doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna go back over it. Maybe that's too translucent. Let's put that up a bit. Now, part of this, like I said, is going to be underwater, so we will make adjustments as we go anyway, but the more of this I get in there, the easier it will be. I don't need this to be good, and I think that's something that you want to keep in mind. I'm going to fix all of the crappiness about this in the actual painting. So this is just kind of a loose, like, yeah, I got an idea of where I'm going with this. Okay, good enough. We got an idea. So let's drop this back behind the flamingo. So these are going to, that's our general color theme, this greenish kind of gray color. Let's see. Thank you, Sarah. Congratulations on the 300,000 subscribers. I thought that I'd hit that. Like, that's still like so weird to me. Let's see. Starving Artist Collective. I built a website in early 2000s and it looks like it. Be good to see how Lisa would tackle them now. Tom said, when you are oil painting, do you make your own medium? And if you do, what do you use to make it? No, I don't make my own anything. I use liquid as my mixing medium. Will I be removing the bird's tags or keeping them? Absolutely removing them. He doesn't need to keep bracelets in this painting. They don't go with this. Let's see. Lori said, love the website demo idea. I struggled when creating mine on how best to organize the art gallery. Organized by medium or used by subject matter? Don't organize. Throw your best of the best. Like, okay, so websites. If you have a portrait, like let's say you're selling portraits and then you also have like your surreal, like let's pretend you're me. I've got when I used to take portrait commissions, I would put portraits on the thing like with the prices to give you an example of those portraits. But other than that, throw it all together. People try to over-organize their website. So click here to look at portraits. Click here to look at colored pencil. Click here to look at this. Click here. Stop giving people jobs. They don't want jobs. They don't want to work to use your website. They want to go to your website and see your stuff. Throw your best of the best up there. And if you have so many paintings that you feel the need to organize, you're putting too much up. And I have a lot of paintings on mine. Best of the best. People don't need to look at 100 paintings. So, I mean, I've completed personally over 1,000. I hit 1,000 years ago. So I'm not putting all of that. Heck, I don't want people to see half the stuff I painted. But you don't need it all up there. And if you feel the need to organize, one of two things is happening. You are falling in kind of victim into, you've seen other artists organize everything to the moon and back. Stop it. Don't use that as an example. That is a bad website design. Or you just are putting too many paintings on your website. That could also be the case. And again, here, we'll pull up mine real quick. I'm ridiculous. I have a stupid amount on my website. But that doesn't mean, let me move this over so you can see it. That should let you see it. If you go to my gallery, that's it, gallery, everything. So I'm going to put some of my favorites at the top. I really need to update this. I have not put anything new on here in a very long time. But you've got, my gallery is pretty long. And what I typically will do is when I put new stuff up, I will take out some of my least favorite paintings. So you kind of cycle through that. But some of these are old. Man, this one here with the scissor tail, this one was one of my first YouTube videos. A lot of these were. Anyway, like I don't need this up here anymore. This is in colored pencil. I don't need it up there anymore. I can take that down. I've got much better stuff. So I definitely can. Now, that said, if we go through this, I do, like for me, I want my favorite I don't put portraits up top. My favorites are wildlife work and surreal work. That I think is something more unique to me than a portrait. Everyone's portraits kind of look the same. It's a portrait. So I'm getting more creative in a lot of, I go through the animals. I did kind of group mine a little bit by color, kind of, so that, you've got the muted colors here. As I go down, we've got a lot of the blues and turquoise, again, a little bit more muted colors. So they're grouped so that they're somewhat appealing being next to each other, but they, like here, I keep saying again, the grapes and the little chickadee, these go together. I apparently have a thing for barbed wire. Those colors look kind of nice together. And so that is where I'm choosing the placement. And then I grouped a bunch of the portraits down lower, but I'm not trying to get sales or commissions on portraits. So that's not important to me. If I was, those would need to be at the top. And I've got a lot of these that I'm like, they really don't need to be on my, I really should pull a lot of these out. I've got too much on here. But anyway, the point is you don't need to, they're not really organized any more than, I thought these colors looked nice together and it was flattering for this painting to be next to this painting. That is the end of it. What I'm talking about with organizing, and this is what I suspect a lot of people are thinking, is where you've got to click to see acrylics. You've got to click another button if you want to see oils. You've got to click. You've got it separated by medium. You've got it separated by subject. You want as little clicks as possible for somebody to find what they want on your website. I'm not an expert at this. If we go to my website, I've got too many options. You give people too many options, they leave. They don't want to work. No one wants to do extra work to see your art. So a good example, people used to do, while we're here, I can go ahead and pull this up because I need to look at some stuff. Let's look at Unsplash. People used to do an entry page. Welcome to my website. First, never say welcome to my website. You just wasted their time. They know they're welcome at your website. That's stupid. So get rid of that. If you've got that on your website, get rid of it. They know they're welcome. That's a given. You just wasted space. So that needs to be out. you don't, people aren't going to spend a lot of time reading anyway, so get rid of the font or the text that doesn't need to be there. Then you have the welcome, the landing page, where it was like, welcome to Lachri Fine Art, click to enter. Why? And I used to do it too. We all did it. Don't still do that. There should be no landing page. That's dumb. When you go to the website, you should get the information very quickly, very easily that you want. And so just a few bits of information there. Going off on rants. Let's see. Sarah said, I believe that if I was able to learn calculus, I can learn anything else. You know, it's funny. I was just talking to my husband about that concept because I learned, or since June, I've lost 30 pounds. And I hit my goal, and it was like, I didn't think I would hit my goal. It was just kind of like a random number of when I was younger, you know, when I felt healthier. And it was one of those things where it hit me the other day. Oh, my little bat's falling over. Guys, he's sitting next to me, but I messed him up his house. You sit there. It hit me the other day. I'm like, if I could do this, what else could I do? Like, could I start making better YouTube videos? Because that was my first thought, is like, what can I do better on YouTube? So it was kind of funny that you say that, because I felt the same way about the weight loss as you did about calculus. I couldn't learn calculus though. Let's see. Sarah said, I think at the end of the day, people who say they could never paint or draw just aren't motivated to learn it. And there's nothing wrong with it. And that's true. Absolutely. I mean, not everybody needs to, but yeah, no, you're right. Let's see. Have I ever thought of doing cartoons? I mean, I did Zombie Snail. Cartoons don't interest me though. I mean, why do I do cartoons when I paint what I paint? Most of the people I know who limit themselves to cartoons are because they didn't learn to do realism. So, I mean, what is it? Aaron Blaze used to post all the time. Can you tell I'm a huge fan of Aaron Blaze? He used to post, if you want to get better at your art, stop drawing anime. Let's see. There's nothing wrong with drawing anime if that's what's fun to you, but you're limiting yourself in that. Let's see. Princess said, hi, Lachri. Thank you for your videos. Oh, thanks. You're welcome. I'm bad at words. I have learned so much in the past 2 years. Shout out all the way for, I don't know, from Mexico. Nice. That's so cool to hear. Scrolling. Let me just get caught up on some questions, and then we're going to look for this. Is this going to be similar to the skateboard you did? So it's funny you mentioned that, because when I was coming up with ideas for this, it kind of is. And then I realized, but I want it more. I want it more than that. And so that's one of the reasons the skateboard, when I remembered that, I was like, that's one of the reasons I'm not going on the thinner, longer canvas, because that would be almost the same dimensions as the skateboard, as awesome as that one was. And I love how that came out. It's, I want more. I want that. I'm going to go big and have just tons of details. So what I'm looking for right now, what are the green moths? Are they Luna? Okay, yes. Well, kind of. Hold on. Let's just do a Google search so I can see. Okay, Luna moth. This is the type of moth that I'm going to do several of. And so one of the things that may happen, I'm probably not going to find a lot of really good reference photos on this, so I'm going to have to freehand a bunch in, just kind of looking at examples of what they look like and just make it up in my head. So I'm not going to just save people's photos and paste that in, because I'm not going to violate someone's copyright. But let's see if I can find any that we're allowed to use. You or a maybe will open you in a new tab. I am the queen, I don't know if you guys do this, of tabs, and it drives my husband crazy. He'll come in and I've got 50 tabs going across, and he's like, you need to close some of those, but I'm using them, all of them. I need more now. But yeah. Oh my God, how cute is this guy? Holy crap. That is the most adorable, like, what the heck? How are you so cute? Anyway, moving on. Okay. I'm not going to find much here. Scrolling down, Daniela said, how do you ensure you get credit as the original artist if the buyer ever decides to sell or pass on your work? When you're first starting out and trying to get recognition, you sign the work. You make sure your name, you sign the work. That is it. I mean, if somebody buys the work, they're ideally buying it because of your name being on it. It's as important as the work itself. So, yeah, sign it. That is how you ensure it. I mean, if somebody else sells it, it's their property to sell. Now, to make prints, no, they can sell it, no problem. You don't get like royalties from them selling the original artwork. Prints would be another matter. And the way that you keep that, you don't. You know, keep it out on the internet, I guess, if you see it being posted there. Well, there are some cute moths in here that I want to do. So, okay, this project, I know my brain's all over the place. Typical. But this project's going to be very long, so I'm probably going to do something a little bit smaller and quick in between some of these. So, like, I really like that moth. I'm obsessed with him. Is that even a moth or a butterfly? He doesn't have fluffy wing antennas. Does that make him a butterfly? Somebody pointed out the difference, and I don't remember now, but he is cute. Let's see. I am way behind on comments. Let me go through this really quick. Moody Roan said, do you question sometimes the direction a painting is going and if you should keep going or move on to something else? Having that issue with the current painting in mind, finish it. Make it fit, like make it work. You're going to learn more from making something you don't like work than you are from starting from scratch on something else. Figure out whatever it is. First, you need to pinpoint what is it about your current painting that you're like, I'm not loving this. Figure out what that is. Once you pinpoint what that is, now you know what to work on. Now, let's say you're working on a portrait and the initial line drawing was off and you're like, wow, this is warped all the heck. Okay, go ahead and start over. But if you knew your line drawing, if the line drawing isn't an issue and you're just like, I'm not loving the colors, I'm not loving my technique, I don't like how this is blending. Now you need to figure out how to like fix it, pinpoint what the problem is, and then fix it, make it work. Hi, Mike. Where do I store all the art that hasn't been sold? All over my house. It is on every wall. I don't have family photo. I have one photo, my wedding photo from my husband and I. And it was like a wedding photo taken on a megapixel singular digital camera because we did like a super small wedding on a balcony at Catalina Island. So it wasn't like we didn't have a photographer or anything. It was my brother-in-law and my sister were taking on these little like back in 2000, they were not good digital cameras, but that is what we have. But anyway, I have one of those in a little heart, and that is the only family photo I have anywhere in my house. All my photos are on my phone, but everything else are my paintings everywhere. And then I have a closet that stores a bunch of them. Monica, hi, Monica Ma said you missed her message, so she's making me retext it. She put you on the prayer list. Oh, thank you, and hopes you're safe. She's eating strawberry shortcake. Oh, that sounds so good. Oh, and that is so sweet. Give her a hug for me and give her extra strawberry shortcake. Let's see. I hope there's whipped cream on the strawberry shortcake because give her extra of that. Leah said, are these pictures of your work on Patreon? I can't see them. Is there another website? You say your website. Go to lachri.com. And they will be, oh, Joseph already told you. Audrey said, please tell me how you lost 30 pounds. Calories in, calories out. It is that simple. Everyone gets so hung up on low carb, low this, low that. Calories in, calories out. Simplify it. And that's what worked for me. I did the low carb thing forever. And while low carb still, oh, look at him. That's cute. But while low carbs, it works, but I wasn't doing it enough to keep myself in ketosis because I like fruit. So I just started counting calories and I use my Fitbit. I'm always wearing it. My Fitbit does a really good job of tracking how many calories that I burned in a day. And so I know how much I'm allowed to eat. I did 1,000 deficit for the first month or so, or for like the first 5 or 6 pounds. For maybe it was the first 12 pounds. I don't remember what it was. I did 1,000 deficit and then I lowered it to a 750 calorie deficit a day and then a 500. And now I do keep kind of balanced at a 250 deficit. So on days that like yesterday, I went to BJ's Pizza and got a gluten-free pizza. I want to eat something extra. I'm like cashing in the points. I call my points that I stored up before. So that's, yeah, calories in, calories out. I paid attention to how much we had my problem anyway. I'm looking still for these moths. How cute is he? I have a tendency to think if I just need to start walking more, I need to work out more and I'm going to lose weight. That wasn't going to account for, I didn't realize how many calories I was consuming because I used to say, there we go. There's one. I used to think I don't even eat that much. Apparently I was. And when I added up how many calories, what we think we're consuming and what we should consume, they're not even in the same ballpark. Like it's crazy. So yeah, that is all I did. I walk when it's warmer. Me and Gibson go on our walks, but the main thing was just, I eat a lot of rice. And people always comment too, well, I can't afford to lose weight because it's too expensive to eat healthy. Rice and beans and chicken and vegetables. That is what you need. Like that is not it's cheap. It is not. We always think, well, we need to eat all these salads. I had to stop eating salads. Salad dressing has so many calories. The other thing is avoiding the artificial sweeteners that your body's like, what is this? I don't know what I'm doing, and it kind of screws stuff up. So try to keep stuff natural, or for what I did, I should say. I try to keep things natural. I try to keep things basic. So I kept eating these rice bowls. They're these rice shrimp bowls. I ate those a lot. So yeah, that was it. Calories in, calories out. It was that simple. I use the Fitbit has an app that will track. You can scan the food you're eating or type in what it is. Like you can easily look up online how many, like 2 ounces of chicken has this many calories. And that was the other thing, is I had to start weighing everything, like all my food, because what I thought 2 ounces was, like what a serving size should be, was not what a serving size should be, apparently. So yeah, and it's nice too. I'm actually really like this diet because unlike keto or low carb, where like I said, you cheat once and it throws things off, and I like fruit. So I kept eating mangoes. That is not low carb. So with this one, now that I hit my goal so I can have more calories, I can occasionally have a Reese's. I love Reese's peanut butter cups. And sometimes I get candy. I mean, not all the time, but sometimes I have enough points for that. So yeah, it's worked out really well. This has been a more like long-term manageable diet for me than the keto was. And really the main carb that I eat is rice. Rice and beans are the main one. Not potatoes. I don't eat too often. It starts causing problems with my arthritis and the fibromyalgia and all that crap. So yeah, I'm still looking for moths, by the way. I'm gonna find it a whole lot. So what I'm probably going to do is find something with similar, like he's got kind of a similar shape. I can use him as a guidance. Let's go ahead and open that in a new tab because I'm gonna save that. And then just make him the colors that I want for this. So I can use him just to get it like an idea of where the wings would be shaped, and of course modify it to work for this. Let's see. Doug said the landing page was used at one time so that someone on a very slow connection would get a page displayed relatively quickly. That hasn't been a huge factor for 10 and 15 years. Interesting. Oh, good. Yeah, you guys had said Luna moths. Okay, let's see if I can get caught up really quick on questions. I'm teaching an 11-year-old how to paint over Zoom. She's brand new to it and wants to learn cats. I walked her through a furry blob monster to practice fur. She loved it. Any other suggestions? Let her draw cats. I mean, if that's what she's passionate about and that's what she wants, go ahead and jump in and let her do it. Let her start. Have her trace cats. That would be one of my first things I would do, is have her start tracing cats, because tracing it, she's going to start noticing the shape of the ears, the shape of the head, the location of the eyes. Start tracing, and I would don't just trace nonstop. Like trace the cat 10 times, freehand it once. Trace it again another 5 times. Freehand it once. Go back and forth, and it's going to start forcing her to notice things that she was not previously noticing. She's going to improve her drawing skills itself really a lot faster. Clark Reinhardt said, I also get overzealous with the tabs. Rose said, looks like it's the wing shape of the moth that makes it recognizable. Yeah. Let's see. Where do you start at selling your artworks? I started in coffee shops, local art shows, and eBay. That's how I started. Online is going to be good. Facebook, Instagram, post there. Now make sure when you post on those places, though, you're not just, this is for sale, this is for sale, now this is for sale, now this is for sale. Hey, buy this, can you buy this? If you do it too much, you get tuned out. People are not interested in that. You want to kind of balance your sales with just free like normal content. So that guy doesn't look like a lunar moth or a Luna moth to me. I don't know why. But anyway, I don't understand your searches. But yeah, that would be, where was I? I just got through there. Yeah, that's where I started. I think it's a good place to start. On Chrome on my phone, I often have 20 tabs open, done it for months at a time. Oh, on my phone, I have the same thing with Chrome, and I've got 11, I think, going right now. So I guess not as bad. But yeah, here, hold on. I'll look. It is 10. I must have closed one. I always have my greenhouses that I buy plants from are always there so I can refresh and see if they got anything new. I'm slightly obsessive with that. You can use a moon in the background with the lunar moths and paint the flamingo night scene. That would be really pretty. It doesn't work, I don't think, with the look that I'm going for. I do like the idea, but in this case, I don't think it's gonna like balance out my overall feel. Every Artist Collective said, I love open tabs as well. My record was 203. Okay, but was that back when pop-up windows would come up constantly and you had no control? Let's see. Yeah, I try to keep it under 50 now. Going back down. Susan said, I finished up a watercolor painting almost because thought I'd stuffed it up, but thought, I'm not reading this right, but thought I may as well totally screw up this one and learn from it. I persisted and it looks fantastic. That's awesome. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Rose said, 4 o'clock Moth is really pretty. Oh, I already scrolled past, didn't I? Look up hummingbird moths. Oh, I've seen them. They're so gorgeous. Okay, that was a butterfly you used in the first collage for colored pencil. Or that's the butterfly used. Okay, let's see if I can find any more. I really want to stick, I think, with just this type of moth, that color, a bunch of them. I don't think I want to do like the draft where I have multiple, like everything's different. I think that's those splashes of green. I also was kind of tempted, if we go back and look at his leg, to put a tree frog, a red-eye tree frog sitting like hanging off of it, because it would kind of go with what I've done. So that might end up being there, especially since this is for me, but we'll see. And another thing that I think I'm going to do is put in an octopus kind of wrapping up his leg, his arms wrapped all going up, coming out of the water. So actually, I'm having a hard time finding the moths right now. We'll come back to this. Let's go ahead and I can do another layer here. This is going to be the water line. We can start putting that in. How are my little friends going, the frogs, and how are the water pipes out? As far as I know, the water pipes are good, although my front flower bed, I ran for the first time the sprinklers today, and it doesn't work again. And it did that last winter too, and they didn't tell me what it was they changed to fix it, so I don't know why that happened 2 years in a row. It doesn't seem to be leaking anywhere. There's just no water. So I can water that by hand. It's not actually a big deal. I end up watering it by hand anyway because I have to water the flower pots that I put out there. So it doesn't really matter that much, but yeah, I don't know. I found that out today. All the other sprinklers did fine. Everything seems to have come out good for the frogs. Everybody's doing good. My new frogs probably next week will get shipped. They're waiting until all the shipping drama gets calmed down. But I've got 2 new red-eye tree frogs. They don't look like the normal ones. They are a purple phase red-eye tree frog and a albino, if you want to see what those look like. You can look that up. They're really cute. So that way, all 3 that will be in the big tank will look different, and I can easily identify in case somebody has an issue, or I'm keeping an eye on one of the frogs for any reason. The other one with the neurological issues, I started force feeding her. She was just wasting away, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? So I started force feeding her. I've been giving her waxworms. She's not eating the waxworms. The other one ate the waxworm, but she's still got the issues, but I'm trying to get her to start eating those waxworms on her own. In the meantime, every other day tonight, when I'm done with this, I'm going to go force feed another cricket or so. And she wants it. Like once it's in her mouth, she's like, oh, this is good. And she swallows it. Whereas a sick frog will spit it out. So, or try to spit it out. She wants to eat. So that's the trap. But when you force the mouth open, you have to, this is the whole thing. I take a credit, or it's actually my old Costco card. You have to shove it in the corner of their mouth and gently try to pry their mouth open. Once they open it, you shove the cricket in real quick. It's a challenge, and you don't want to damage. Their skin is so sensitive, so that's why I don't want to do it every day, because it started to cause issues around her mouth. Like I could see, like, okay, I don't want to cause it's a whole thing. So yeah, tonight is night of she gets fed. Natalie said, our foster pup who is over 100 pounds is currently howling so loud. He's the sweetest thing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go ahead. And what do I have this set to? Yeah, that'll work. Oops. Erase. Okay, so I'm thinking the water line will be something like this, and then it'll go back. Maybe I might just fade behind. We'll see. Maybe it'll come up a little bit further. Let's go ahead and erase that. I'm going to take those. And see, this is why I like to design in Photoshop first. I can get a feel of, does this look, do I like this? Before I do it on the canvas and think, oh, I wish I would have raised that 2 inches. It would have looked a lot better. I can find that out now. So this is where the reason that I'm doing it this way. Actually, you know what we can do too? No, that would look weird. I was thinking the back line could be at that line with it. No, I don't like how that looks anyway. So the rule of thirds doesn't always work. It would have been great if it would have looked cool where the back line went back that far to where that third is. But in this case, it would have been too thick. My balance would have been off. And the reason my water is so low, my water line, is that I don't want his head below. Actually, though, I could put the head below a little bit. His beak could be going into the water. Let's find out what that looks like. That might be kind of cool. Okay, let's try this again. Actually, let's just take this water line and move it up so I don't have to redraw that. That might work. And then if we put the rule of thirds, then his beak could be in the water. There's no reason his beak can't be underwater. That might give it a really cool depth. So see, again, this is why I love designing in Photoshop. Let's experiment and figure out what we want here instead of waiting and finding out we hate it on the canvas. So then it would just fade out back there. Erase that. Oops, and then we'll erase it off its neck here. And then pull that out. So here, you know what I was saying, I don't typically follow the rule of thirds on everything, but in this case, that's gonna give me a nice balance with that water by following that. Pixabay has lunar moss. I'll go look over there next. I always go back and forth between the two to find what I want. Okay, so his beak is going to be partially in the water. Now the other thing that we're going to have, I don't like the way that I've got my water drawn out. So while I like the location, let's do a little bit more. I want some more variation on that break. Maybe something like that. And then his leg is going to be back here. So that is going to be covered for the most part. And his beak will be back just a bit. So this will be covered. So we'll have a little bit of water in between the beak and the front of the water there, and then we'll cover a little bit on the leg there. Let's see. Stephanie said, I love your imagination. How do you come up with the concepts for your work? Do you decide what to include in your, how do you decide what to include in your work? My composition seemed boring, and how many calories do you consume to lose weight? For the weight things, the easier thing to answer, it depends on how many you're burning. So I changed my thing on Fitbit. You could set like what deficit you wanted. 1,000 was the more extreme, and 1,000 I wouldn't recommend for most. I think it was probably a bit much. I didn't stay with 1,000 for that long. I just needed to see a quick loss so that I would stick with it or see results quickly, and then I switched to 750, which was more manageable. So it completely depends on how many calories you burn. I don't burn many because I'm not very active, and that's why 1,000 for me was a bit too much, because I was burning. It was keeping my daily calories under 1,000 on many days, not all days, but many, and that's not it. That's kind of scary. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for most, but it just depends on how much you're burning. You remember, I forget, what is it? Is it 2,500 calories you have to be in a deficit of in order to lose weight? Same thing with gaining, is 1 pound, 25. So I have to be at a deficit if I want to lose. You kind of balance it with that, but it's not a matter of this is how many everyone should do. And I think that's why the calorie in, calorie out thing didn't work for me before, because it didn't factor how freaking lazy I am. I am so inactive. So now it's it makes it much easier to balance. I mean, so many of us work at desks, or in my case, in an easel. So that was how I came up with the calories to consume. You just remember, you've got to lose, I want to say it's 2,500 calories. You've got to have a deficit. So you've eaten 2,500 less than you've burned to lose 1 pound. So that just is kind of a general guideline there. But you said, as far as how I come up with concepts, this is it. It's a collage. I put together, I knew I wanted a flamingo. I knew I just started coming up with ideas. Now, in his case, I did start coming up, or you know what I'm just now noticing I don't like on this? He is way too close to the edge there. You will need to change a bit. He'll be on rocks or something, so that will work. His little elbow back here was way too close to the edge of the canvas, so I just wanted to pull that in. Anyway, I come up with ideas just in, like in this case, I found a photo I liked and I built off that. What can I add to this? And, or what do I like? I mean, that's really, as an artist, you want to keep in mind. Same thing with color choices. What do I like? What you like is going to play a very big role in the type of artwork that you create. That's part of what makes it you. We have a tendency to want to follow everybody else's rules, what somebody else likes. That doesn't make it yours. You want your work to be yours, and you have to pick, like you have to be brave enough to trust what you like. So that is what you want to do there. Oh, hold on. Why is this doing that? Wasn't I looking for something for, oh yeah, no, I already looked it up. So that's kind of it with me. With those moths, I'm currently just, every time I see them, they just give me the happy tingles. So I want to include them. I think that'd be so pretty on my own wall, since this is where this painting is going to go. And that's how I decided what I wanted to include there. Well, we all know how much I like octopuses, so that is going to go up, you know, be sitting on the rock, because his foot will be kind of on a rock, and I'm going to have coral growing all on that and going up his leg like I did on the skateboard. And then I'm going to put the octopus coming out of the water partially with his legs out over the legs. So yeah, you have to start trusting what you like and include the things you like into your painting. And think of it as a collage. You can write down, and I've talked about doing this before, write down a bunch of random things, stick it in a mason jar or pickle jar or whatever you got, pillowcase, I don't care, stick it into something, and then just pull out 3 or 4 different elements and figure out how to make them all fit together into one painting. So that's another way you can do something that's kind of creative without having to think too hard. But you'll have to make a list of maybe, I don't know, 50 things, 30 things, and you can just look around going, okay, plant, spoon, light bulb, you know, random stuff, and then make another list of animals, another list of different things. You just pull elements out and put them, figure out how to make those fit together. So those are a few different things. Have I tried the NVIDIA's website where you use simple paint tool strokes and it completely builds up mountains, rivers, skies, artificial intelligence? No, I have not. I don't have time to play with a lot of different things, so yeah. Okay, I keep getting notifications my frogs are moving. Hold on, we're gonna take a break and look and see. I'll let you know if it's anything good. Oh, I can't see the little glitch frog anymore. Oh dear God. Can you guys see? No, you can't see. That's the wrong screen. I don't know if you can see him moving. He's adorable. God, that frog is cute. Anyway, sorry. Red-eyed tree frog. They're in separate tanks now because he was eating the waxworms. So, back to work. Okay, where is... So this water, I need it to be slightly big. And let's see, how do I want to do this? It'd be easier to do another layer. And let's call this water glow. That is going to be under the water line, and I will end up erasing some of it. But what I will do, I can use the same color is just fine, but I do want it to be more translucent. I need it to be a lot softer and a lot larger. A lot larger. Still a lot larger. Yeah, something like that will probably work. And let's see, I'm going to need the opacity to drop down quite a bit. That's still too opaque. Way more. Let's drop that opacity a lot. So we need it lighter at the top. And just, nope, still too much. And I think my brush is bigger than, maybe not bigger than what I need, but it is definitely needs to be more translucent. Let's go 9%. There we go. I just want a little bit of a glow at the waterline, coming down. And then I'm going to take the eraser and erase everything that is above that line. Nothing needs to be exact. Again, just going for close, getting a general idea of what I want to do. Now, I do want to throw, oh no, don't do that. That does not look cute. Let's see, you. You need to be down to about 6 pixels. You need to be more opaque. And you need to be on the right line. There we go, water line. So let's get a little bit more in there of our water ripples. And this back line is going to end up fading a little bit. Let's erase some of that. We're not going to want it to be quite that bold. It'll just kind of fade into the background a bit. So there we go. Okay, that gives me an idea of that. Oh, and let's pull a little bit off the water glow here. Opacity, we're good. Okay, so that gives us a decent start of our background, the subject. Now let's see if we can find some of those moths. Let's see. And actually, you know what I haven't done in a while, and which is really stupid on my part, is save this. I haven't saved any of this. So he is going under acrylics, and he's going under surreal flamingo. There we go. We're going to call that layout. So I can easily find it later. There we go. Okay. Now, next, back to the moths. So the moths are going to be above water, and then, of course, the fish and the rocks and all of that is going to be underwater. I'll end up freehanding and sketching most of that. How long did it take to understand Photoshop? That would take ages for me to learn. So I used to use a program, I don't know if any of you, I cannot talk, any of you remember this, called Microsoft 99. Microsoft Picture It 99. I used that. It came with my first megapixel, singular there, digital camera, and that is what I used for years. And it worked really well, and it got to the point where I was using it even on Windows Vista, which it wasn't intended for. Well, once I started using it on Windows Vista, it didn't work very well. A lot of the features didn't work, things didn't line up, but it was so easy, and that's what I understood because I've been using it, like, I'm not even kidding, for years. I probably didn't switch to Photoshop until maybe 2010. I was using Picture It 99 for like 10 years at least, because yeah, I got it in 99. 98, 99. So anyway, I finally realized I got another new computer, and Microsoft Picture It wouldn't work at all. Was not even a chance. So I had to force myself to use something else. So I got Photoshop, and I just made myself do it. I knew there were things that I could do very easily in Picture It 99, like cut things out and crop them and change the background and stuff. Didn't look as good, but I could do it. And so I would just go and do a Google search, how do you cut things out in Photoshop? How do you do this? And watch that, and then go back and do it real quick. So every time I had a question where, okay, I know I want to crop the image out. How do I do that? Just do Google search. That's how I learned. And by forcing myself to not, because I had Photoshop for a while, but I kept falling back just because it was easier to use Picture It 99. So I had to force myself, like, no, you're not using that anymore. 100% Photoshop, figure it out. And I did. That is how I learned. Where do I get my stock photos from? Pixabay and Unsplash. Or if I want to buy them, I go to wildlifereferencephotos.com is a really good place. So back to needing moths now. I'm really excited about this. And he's going to need, I'm trying to think, rocks and corals. I'm not sure how I'm going to balance exactly. His foot would look kind of cool if it was on sand. Fading back, maybe. I'm going to come back to that later because we're going to focus on moths. So Pixabay, so let's go over to Pixabay. Oh my gosh, they have a lot more. Okay. Gosh, they're pretty. Now the one thing that you'll notice on this, see how all of them are with their wings flat out. That is where I'm going to have to adjust this. And this is something that a lot of people do when they're painting fish. Most of the photos from fish, photographers, they try to get, or people, hobbyists, whatever, try to get the picture of the fish flat. That doesn't look natural when every single fish in your painting is flat, perfectly swimming to the side like that. That looks flat. We want to get different angles where they're aiming at you, away from you. Want multiple angles so it has a very natural feel. So in this case, notice that every single one of these is flat. I don't know that I will copy any of these exactly. We want to get a lot of variation in there. And so that's where I'll come to, let's see if I look at Google Images. usually you'll get a better selection of different angles, but it'll give me an idea of how they move. Or I can try to find a video of one flying, pause it, get an idea of where it is. I'm going to copy like details from the royalty-free photos that I have permission to use, but I can get an idea of their movement and what it looks like which part of the wing goes on top versus the bottom, that sort of thing. I can get it from looking at videos. Now, one of the common questions that people have is, can you just pause a video or a movie and take a screenshot and use that? Because it's not a photo. You're using that as your reference. Not if you're doing it. You're not going to copy that exactly. It's still copyrighted to whoever made the video, excuse me, or whoever made whatever. So you don't want to copy that exactly, but in this case, I've got a moth. I know what kind of moth I want, but I need to get an idea of how how they look when their wings are in different positions. So here, somebody is holding one up. This is helpful to me. I need to see what the underside of that wing looks like. Am I going to copy that exactly? Absolutely not. But it gives me a much better idea of how the body looks, I didn't see that on the Pixabay ones because I was only looking at the back. So those you're going to use, oh, here's a good one. We can get an idea of how that looks when the wing is at its side. So again, I'm not copying it exactly, but it gives me an idea of what that would look like. Oh, there's a really good one. We can see a different angle here. So it's realistically, it's similar enough to butterflies and how they are. So I can find photos where I like the angle of the butterfly now that I can see how the wing would look from the side and just apply that to the butterfly photo that I have permission to. I hope that makes sense. There's a line of, I can look at that and paint to get an idea of how the body is formed, how all of that, but I cannot copy that exactly because I do not have rights to that. So you've got to find that balance, I guess. But this is good. I'm seeing different. There's an interesting one. Look how the wings, I wouldn't have known that that's how that looked from the underside. So I don't think I would use that one, but it gives you an idea of the movement of that guy. So now going back over to these guys, what I'm probably going to do is take one of these photos, cut it out, stick it everywhere where I'm going to want a moth. But I'm not going to paint that exact one because these are all flat. But it does give me an idea of how I would want them positioned before I sit and take the time to freehand it. I can see where the color balance would be. What I will end up doing is putting all of the moths about where I want them. I'm going to come through, start doing the coral. I'll freehand some of it. I'll use my Tidal Gardens. Now, if you do not, I should have put a link to this. Tidal Gardens on Patreon. If you need coral for your reference photos, they have so many. I've got a whole file here, and I need to contact him because I keep not downloading them like I'm supposed to, because I'm dumb, but that's a waste of my $5 a month. But I need to get more. I keep forgetting to download them. Where did I save them? Is it here? Oh no, I think actually I put it here. I don't remember. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. Patty said, I took a night class in Photoshop for beginners a few years ago, mostly cutting out different images and making a composite image like what you are doing now. Also made loads of birthday cards. It was great fun. Leah said, oh my word, just learned how to glaze a few weeks ago, and now this is awesome. So grateful for you, Lisa, spending the time and knowledge with me. Oh, I'm glad that you like it. Yay. Joseph's having spacebar problems. Okay. I don't know where I saved all of these. These are paintings I did with theirs. I'll have to go and look it up later. But anyway, I'll figure out my general layout, and then I'm not going to waste the time drawing out and perfecting too many of the moths right now until I get the coral in, because that's what's going to help me balance things out. And honestly, I probably will do the majority of figuring out exactly where the moth goes after I get this far. So this is what I did with my lion, and it's what I'm going to likely do here. I'm going to start this painting and get this far. And then I'll put the water, top of the water will be painted properly. But I'll get about that far will be goal number one on this. Get that done. Paint him like there's no moth, there's no anything, just paint it like this. Once this is done, and this is what I did on the lion, I can actually show you the progression. That might be helpful. isn't what I thought I wanted. Huh. Hold on, let me find it. Lion, coral, there it is. So the way that I did this, oh good, this will actually be easier, it's in order. So goal 1, and I'm gonna do the same thing on my flamingo. Get the background painted. Now in this case, my water, I'm showing the underwater portion of it. My next step after that is going to paint the flamingo. So here I painted the lion. Now I did not paint his mane because I knew anything with the hair was going to be filled with coral, but get the lion and the water finished. Him, I will get the feathers, get the whole flamingo done, and get the water to look very similar to what I've done for the water surface here. My next step was to go ahead and start putting in the coral. Once all of the coral was in, I drew out, you can see with the white charcoal pencil, I have everything drawn out with my fish. And in this case, so let's see, step 1 is going to be the flamingo in the water. Once that's in, I will figure out piece by piece how this coral is going to look. Yeah, his foot isn't going to be on sand. It's going to be on coral like this. Actually, you know what we can do? We're going to take that image and drop it right on here for just a moment, and that will make sense in a second. So then coming back here, once I got that portion done, I didn't figure out when I came up with a design for him, I did not spend time figuring out every single coral. I didn't spend time figuring out every single fish. I one by one added them as needed, took the photo into Photoshop, and then decided, would it look good if I put a fish here? Would it look good if I did this here? On the photograph of how far I got with that painting. So it is a little bit different in how I'm going. Like I don't have to have every element of this flamingo planned out right now. What I need right now is the flamingo's body and the water and the background. That's what I'm going to start with. So like the moths, in this case, the moths are basically going to be the same step that the fish that were swimming in the air were on that. I don't have to do that until the water, the flamingo, the coral, everything else goes first. And then the moths will be used to help balance out the overall feel of the piece. So if I'm looking at the flamingo and I'm like, it feels heavy on this side of the canvas, throw a moth in the air up here. So that will make it easier for me to figure out the balance once I see everything together on the canvas. Let's see. Yes, Nick had it. Patreon.com/titlegardens. All one, like no dashes or anything. It's so good if you need coral photos. Like really good coral photos. Thanks, Belinda. I'm looking forward to seeing this finished too. My parents bought plane tickets for coming in April, although with California doing the lockdown the way they are, they're quarantining people if you come back into California, which is weird because California has such a high number. Like, I'm not sure, why are you quarantining when it's already in? The example I told my husband, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. It's like somebody who has cockroaches infesting their house and they're careful to spray the trash can outside because that's where it started. Like, but they're already in the house. The problems are, whatever. It's a weird thing, but so we're not. Hopefully, my parents are coming for my birthday in mid-April, and my goal is to have the painting done and on the wall so it looks all pretty when they get here. It kind of fancies up the area it's going to be, so hopefully I'll have it done by then. That is the goal. Do I use different layers for the moths, coral, etc.? Yes. I mean, when I work in Photoshop, you can see like what I've done here. And actually, let's go ahead and crop this out really quick. Let's pull you down. You don't need to be that big. Got a little crazy there. And we'll just erase this. And so he's on his own layer. That needs to be, oh, I haven't set that. Hold on one second. And this is not that I'm going to paint this coral exactly. I wouldn't want it exact because this is already on the other painting. But I don't need too exact. But this does give me a general idea. Let's make that a bit bigger. And there we go. Going to erase all of that. There we go, and that can go back. So it gives me an idea of how I would maybe want that coral. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be a bit different, but I can just kind of paste things together to see how I like the balance. And it will be something very similar to that as far as size and how the coral's grouped along with the octopus coming up. But yeah, as I do this, you can see off to the side here, I've got Waterline, I've got close. Let's rename that because that's not what that is. I mean, that's was a close-up. It was what it is, but oh, what am I doing? Pay attention, Lisa. The coral, I've got the glow from the water is on a different layer. The flamingo, like everything is on its own layer so that I can easily adjust things as I go. Because if I put it all on one layer and I want to move one element, I can't do that. As of right now, because of where things are, I can decide, would it look good up here? I mean, obviously not. And then I can move it back or move things around. I can move the flamingo around. I can move the water line around. I can move individual elements around to get a better, which makes my life way easier. And this is one of the reasons that I stopped doing, I used to do my designs for surreal stuff in a sketchbook, but it was a lot harder. You're erasing and you're moving stuff. This is so much easier to adjust and move. Would it look better if the flamingo was larger? Would it look better if he was smaller? I can, because it's an individual layer, I'm able to adjust just one thing. So that is, and I think, do I have the individual as I print fish video? I don't know if I have. Let's see if I've got the originals. Okay, that's just the print. That's not going to be helpful. I want to see, it was the layout, lion sketch. So this was original. Oh, there's my sketch of the lion. Because I had part of a photo, like I had a photo of a head, I had a photo of a body. They weren't exactly what I wanted. I had to make adjustments. So that was that. I'm trying to think, but we did a lot of the design for him was done in an old live stream. Lion sketch, Untitled, was it this one? I don't know. I didn't save it. So like I was saying before, what I will do is once I get so far as the flamingo in the background is done, I'll take a photo of that finished thing, bring that into Photoshop and decide where to go from there. So every time I add something new, like when I start working on the coral, I'm going to do that first in Photoshop and then I'll go to the easel. I'll use my projector to project whatever I draw on the Wacom tablet on here. Like I'll draw out the coral where I want it and make sure that's where I want, and then use the projector to project it onto the canvas. So this keeps my work really clean and gives me a lot of options if I want to test things and see, will it look good if it's over here? You know, like I was already saying. What medium am I going to be using? I'm going to be using acrylic. Acrylics with airbrushing. Can I use pictures to help you draw out animals? Can you use pictures? Yeah, I mean, I always use photos as a reference. Nick said, from my recent experience, I think it would take me a month just to paint the lion's mouth. Oh my gosh, that lion's mouth was a lot of, I spent more time on that than any other part of the lion by far. Like the inside, the roof of the mouth was really complicated. Like it was a lot. Worth it, but it was a lot. Whenever I used to do pet portraits, I tried to avoid please, I don't want your panting dog. If it's panting, the tongue is cute, the teeth are cute. I do not want to put the time in. It was so much easier and saved so much time if it wasn't all complicated like that. It looks good, but man. Susan said, going into quarantine for states that have COVID is a bit like wiping your feet before you go into a muddy puddle. That's kind of what I thought. Like, I'm all for keeping everyone safe. I get that. I'm not saying that that's not important. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense. Like what you're doing, it's a little late, isn't it? Like you're now going to quarantine, even though you haven't been, and your state's one of the worst. So shouldn't we be quarantining you? I don't know. Makes no sense, but okay. Moody Roan said, wanted to say thank you. Ever since I've been watching your videos for a couple of years now, you've really opened my eyes and inspired me to think outside the box with my art. Yay! That's awesome. Yeah, Joseph, 90% of us in the US are in a mud puddle and no one is wearing shoes. Let's see. Alice said, I've never thought of using a projector like that. Super smart. It's so easy. And that's the thing, like a lot of people just assume if you're using a projector that you're not freehanding stuff, because a lot of people don't want to trace. They want to freehand everything. You can still freehand things. I can freehand it here on my Wacom tablet, or I can freehand it onto a sketch of paper, take a photo of it, and then use the projector to blow it up to the size that I want. I can have done all of my erasing on the paper, so my canvas doesn't have smudges all over where I was trying to erase things. You can make things so much easier on yourself with using that. And I'm using a digital projector. Mine is the Artograph something and something. They don't make it anymore, probably because it was way overpriced. It was good. It has some flaws, but actually the remote was a known problem with that specific model. But they definitely that one was way too much. You can just get like an LG projector. You can spend far, far less. You just have to make sure whatever projector you get has the ability to hold a static image. Some of them only want to like play movies and stuff. So as long as it can hold like a JPEG in place, that will work for you. So yeah, that's what, it's amazing. And it makes my life so much easier to keep stuff very, very clean. It keeps my canvas protected. Like here, this background is going to be really smooth. That's going to be airbrushed, and I'm going to spend a long time on getting everything exactly how I want. If I drew a moth out and decided, ooh, don't really like that moth, even if I paint over it, you're going to kind of see that the moth was there, but on a background that needs to be this smooth, that's going to be noticeable. Now, let's say I painted the moth in the coral and I changed my mind. No big deal. I'm painting enough coral over it, you wouldn't notice. So normally I would say painting over things you wouldn't notice. I would on this, and that's why I think it's very important when I want an area that I know I need to keep clean, that I try things out on Photoshop first, move things around to see if I like where it looks, figure all that out, get the drawing where I want. And what I'll do on this too, I can do to make it even easier. Let's say I want to, now this would be different because if you don't have a Wacom tablet, this is not going to be really an option for you. Or some kind of digital, something to draw with a pen. You can do this on a like Samsung Note tablet, or what it was, no, mine's the Samsung S3 tablet. But we can do a new layer. We're gonna go lines. Watch how easy you can make this for yourself if you do want to trace. So, and everybody has their own preference. There's no, like you do your art. You hear my husband getting ice in there. You do your art however you want to do it. If that means tracing, trace it. If you don't like tracing, don't trace it. It is up to you. There is no right or wrong there. But I can save time in this case. And let's say I'll make my line maybe on this one because it's so dark. I don't want to go too dark. But I can go through and sketch that out. Now I could use this on a projector as it is, or I can draw things out. I'm just going to do this really loose. I'm not going to take much time because this is not actually how I'm going to do mine. But let's say, you know, you wanted to draw it out. Once you get everything drawn out, you can have just a line drawing, just the lines. So that is an option too when you're doing this in Photoshop. If you do have like a Wacom tablet, oops, I don't need the rule of thirds there. If you don't have, or if you have a Wacom tablet or a digital, like I know Apple has some tablets with a pencil or pen or whatever they call theirs. So you can draw things out or like trace over your Photoshop design and then use that. So you've got a lot of options. The other thing that you can do is to draw this out or design it on Photoshop and take tracing paper, trace it. And so like with me, I've got a 27-inch monitor. It's fairly large. Now that's not big enough for the canvas I'm going to be working on, but it could work on a smaller piece. And I can get the line drawing and trace it off the monitor and then use transfer paper to transfer it over. So you've got a few different ways to cleanly get your design onto your canvas without having to erase things because you kept changing your mind. Let's see. Hi, Fernanda from Chile. I'm saying it wrong, huh? Let's see. Claire Finer said, I love the contrast between the flamingo and the background. Thanks, me too. Kimberly, coffee. I do have coffee. It's almost gone though. Let's see. I'm really excited because I thought I would actually spend a lot of time tonight coming up with more of the design features, but I think my goal is just going to be to start. The background is ready. I'll get the background done. So for Patreon this week, I don't know how far I'm going to get on him because this is probably just the flamingo alone, a week and a half long project. And we're already into Wednesday. So I'm not sure. I'll at least have the background painted. I can do the background. I can probably do the water. So that as a standalone, it would be a short-ish video. I don't think that's going to make the Patreon one. I think I'm going to do a small, like a charcoal drawing for you guys or something for next week. So that the following week will be the really elaborate with the flamingo getting started. So that's probably what's going to happen. Petty Picasso said, we are not allowed to travel outside 5 kilometers except for work essentials. Then on the news, it was revealed that 10,000 passed through Dublin airport this week. It was not well received. Oh, yeah, I don't know. There's some weird stuff going on. We're gonna keep our mind off it and focus on art. So let's see. We've got these moths. Let's go ahead and cut one out so I can use it at least as a base for color and such. He looks pretty good. You know what I might be able to do too? Let's look at Pixabay again. I have an idea. I wonder if I just put green moth, if I would get more. Because sometimes people take photos and they don't know. See, like I don't think was even on there. And he's a really good one. Sometimes people take photos of stuff, like whether it be a fish or whatever, and they don't know what it's called. And so they'll upload green moth. So that's something you want to do too. Fish is a big one. They won't realize like, oh, that's a hippie tang, a hippo tang, or, you know, so there's different things that people call different things. So, or certain plants, like I wanted to find a photo of a monstera to use for something, and no one was listing that on Pixabay. Like there are very few actual monsteras listed as monsteras because no one knows what that is, but they know tropical plant. So if I look up tropical plant, I was able to find that. Same thing with fish. You may think like goldfish. I'm looking for goldfish. People list everything but goldfish under goldfish. So look under just fish, and I was able to find more. So you do have a lot of people listing it that don't know. Let's see. How long would this take if you weren't trying to make a video at the same time? What I just did, maybe 20 minutes, if that. It wouldn't. What I did, I don't even think it would have taken that long. The sitting and looking through photos is actually taking longer than anything else. That's a neat photo with the lighting on that. So they've got that listed as comet, moth, butterfly. It's none of those things. So there's a different angle. I mean, still flatter than what I want. But you can really see what I mean by finding more photos by using more simplistic terms, even if like 3 pages to go through. Even if you know the name of something, that doesn't mean the photographer that uploaded to, or the person who stole the photo, could be either way, on Unsplash or Pixabay knows what that is. And actually, we can go Unsplash. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but it seems like Unsplash has a tendency to have higher quality photos, and I don't know why that is. Let's try green moth. That didn't really help. No. I had high hopes. My high hopes have been crushed. Wow, that flamingo is taking a bath. I don't know, did you guys see him? That's cute. Let's see, go back. Hi, Kimberly, I am good. Leah, lockdown cure equals focus on art. Yes, wisdom for us all. Yep. Art and yard work. If you have a backyard, like so I was super just mentally exhausted from the storm we had in Texas with losing power. Power's on, power's off, water's off now. Water, but you need to drip the water or you're going to break your pipes. But we don't want you to use water because we've got to conserve it. But if your pipes break, that's not going to conserve it. It was the most like, oh my God. So, I was just done. I think everyone was just done. So, and we made it out really. Everything went good, but you're constantly stressed through all of that. So I decided, that's why I took off last week. If you saw yesterday's video, you know that. Hi, Mercy in India. But I did the yard where I added another flower bed. I planted things. Today was spent pulling weeds and checking my irrigation and like just being outside and working there. Oh my gosh, it's been amazing. Like my brain feels calm. My body's exhausted. Maybe that's part of it. Exhaust your body and your mind can calm down some, but I definitely feel refreshed, I guess, which sounds super cheesy, but that is okay. I'm gonna go back to Pixabay because this is kind of crappy. Is that the page I was on? No. That is a good, I'm really liking that photo. That's a good one. We're gonna actually I can go ahead and start saving these now. Oh, who am I logged in under? I don't remember. Oh, I do have a login. There we go. Okay, we're gonna save these to my surreal flamingo. Let's make a new folder called Moths. Clark Feiner said, I thought we would be blown away yesterday. High winds for about 24 hours. Didn't think it would ever stop blowing. We get that occasionally here. My mom in California has been getting crazy winds too. Oh gosh, we're in lockdown with 3 feet of snow, so no gardening, and 2 kids, so concentrating on art is out. Oh my gosh, spring is going to feel amazing to you though. You're probably going to appreciate it like no one else. Angel said, that's an omen that you should go back here in California and let's start a cult. funny you said that. I was actually watching the cult about Waco. That's a really interesting thing because it is not what they told you it was. Like I'm going to get filtered on Facebook, so I can't, or not Facebook, but YouTube. I can't say too much, but like look into the reality of what happened there, not what they told you happened there. It is, I like documentaries on cults, but while I do think cults are bad, what was done to those people was atrocious. Anyway, that's as much as I'll say on that. You should go look into it. I was just watching about stuff like that last night. Let's see, maybe trees in the background or mountains. Not in this one. No, I definitely, because this one, I want to have the same feel. Let me pull this up again. I want it to have very much the same feel as my lion did. Let's see. Not copy. You just come over here. There we go. I want it to have a very similar feel to this. So I want the background, it doesn't have to be exact, but I want close to that. I want everything to be very, very similar. There we go. So that is why, I'm trying to move this out of the way so you can kind of see where I'm going with that. That's why I'm not doing like any crazy background on this one. I really want a very similar feel to this, but with a different subject. And then I'm going to have the octopus, of course, going up his leg. Now the octopus will probably come in before the coral really does. What I will likely do, and I can show you that now. We can get, whoops. Let's back the coral out. Got too many things open. You go away. Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted. Let's pull the coral out. What I will do after I get the flamingo done, lines, actually I can do that. I'll just delete that. Let's make a new lines one. And I'll probably, just draw him probably with like a white, or a light aqua, I don't know, something so he stands out. Let's see. Angel said, Curlfish 12G is kind of cute, and we kind of have a combo. Congratulations. It was funny. My neighbor came in, and she saw the painting and commented on how cute he was. And I'm like, it's weird to me because I'm old, and so I look at him like he's a kid. I don't look at a kid like he's a kid to me. Like that. So it was kind of funny. My neighbor thought the same, agrees with you, though, I guess. But yeah, California is not happening for me. I'm trying to actually get my parents out here. I know more people who are moving out of California than in, that's for sure. I really like Texas. Okay, so the octopus. We will draw, I'm trying to think how I want him. He'll probably part in water. And then his legs will be wrapping. Nope, that one shouldn't be. Let's back that line up. So see how I can draw this out and figure out how I want things to look before I get onto the canvas. And we're going to have coral and stuff coming out all over the place. So he'll be mixed in with that. So it's going to look a little bit weird right now. And I'll readjust this once it's painted to figure out what I think will look the best. So it's not like any of these legs are staying exactly how I have it, but this is where I'm going with that. Let's see. Susan said, found a butterfly on Pixabay. It would work if you wanted to add a butterfly to your flamingo's leg. Butterfly. No, I'm definitely, my plan, and we'll see, but my plan is to stick with the Luna moths. Normally, I would do like different types of butterflies, different types of them. I really want just that as this green, this bright lime green up above. And the reality is, once I get this far, I get the flamingo done, probably get the octopus, some coral, all of that, the moths are going to be last. I may start photoshopping in moths and realize I don't like the balance. I'm not including any of them. I'm going to do something else altogether. That's a possibility, but that's why I'm going to do things in Photoshop. And I use Photoshop all along the way to figure out as I go, as I add one more element, if I like it. Now, one thing I do want to point out, let's say I was doing this in colored pencil. Colored pencil, start to finish, everything needs to be designed in Photoshop or in a sketch or whatever before I ever touch the paper, because that you can't go and you don't layer the same way in colored pencil that you do in acrylics. Now, if you're working like with powder blender on the Lux Archival or a sanded paper, then you can make adjustments and you can layer to an extent, but it's still ideal to know what your plan is from the beginning. Yeah, you can make changes, but I don't layer that quite how I would layer something like this. So that is going to actually, you know what'll look neat too, I think, is having his arms kind of, I'm liking that idea. It will just balance stuff in between the coral that comes through. So I can use this to balance. Yeah, I'm kind of excited now. That one gave me a little bit of goosebumps. This is how I design my artwork. Did I get goosebumps? Am I like on the verge of, oh my gosh, I'm going to explode because I'm so excited? That's what I want to include. That's when I see something and I'm like, that's it, that right there. His legs, balancing this out, getting this kind of, it's almost like a graphic design more so right now anyway, than how I'm looking at that overall balance. But that just balanced this out in a way that I love. And so going back to those moths, it's possible I don't include them at all. It's possible I start putting those in and realize that took attention away from the balance between the neck of the flamingo and the legs of the octopus. And it wasn't what I wanted. So that may end up not being there, even though it was one of my plans. Maybe I'll end up putting fireflies. That may give me a better balance than what this would, or what my moth plan would. And so it's just, I still don't know how I ever painted before Photoshop, because it's such a huge part of my design process now. Unless I'm just copying a photo exactly, which is rare, I come up with these layouts. Let me see if I've got any others that I can show you. Let's see. Angel said, no, we're the same age. Maybe he's even older. Anyway, I thought Rona would leave by 2020. Then I realized it never takes vacation. Yeah, I mean, it's here to stay. That's it. Do some research on how viruses work. Like, I don't know why people seem to be under the impression it was just going to go away. It's like, no, that's the thing for us now. Like, that is a flu that we'll deal with it's just a new version that we now have to deal with forever. It's not ever like just going to stop. That's not how that works. But anyway, yeah, so anyway, moving on. Am I going to make the moth glow? Possibly, and that's something I would have to test once I get to that portion of it. That's a kind of neat idea. Can you do the Luna moths and some fireflies? Also an idea, and that was one of the ones that I kind of thought I would do. Pretty sure I'll include fireflies in with this because I like that sparkly feel, so maybe. What is the cabinet furniture behind you? It's you can't really tell. I don't think it shows in the lighting here. Does it show? Not really. It's kind of a light teal color, like a pale, almost grayish teal, and it has all my Little Ponies in it. My retro ponies. I have a bit of an addiction. There are a lot of ponies. I check Target every time I go for more ponies. Let's see. Mercy says using Photoshop like that is really smart. I mean, it saves a lot of work. So much work. So much work. Angel said, I'm going to eat Haagen-Dazs while watching you, or what drink to order? Huh? I don't know what that, I don't think I'm reading that one right. So what was next? So the octopus, we want to figure out how to balance those legs out. And really with the octopus, what I will do, paint the flamingo. Once he's done, I'm going to take a photo of my painting and I'm going to come into Photoshop and I'm going to do the same thing you see me doing here. I'll draw that to make sure it's exactly how I want. And then once that's done, I'll start in with the corals. So actually I may draw in the coral one at the same time. Like here, we'll draw some sponges. What else do we want in there? I'm trying to think of some easy coral to just sketch off the top of my head. Maybe some mushrooms. Although those don't really look like mushrooms. They just look like weird little circles at that point. I'm not sure on the floor. I may have just a bit of sand. I was thinking no sand, and then I might do some. He needs to be standing on something. So I may break it up with the octopus's leg. Nope, that is way too close to the face. We do not want that. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? We're at 9:49. There's not really a whole lot else for me to add right now, so I don't know if you guys have some questions or things you want to chat about for the next 10 minutes or so. Sarah said, I love Google's photo search feature for finding out what something is. I can upload a photo and usually find out what the subject is in seconds. Me too. An anemone. That's not a terrible idea. Anemones are kind of a pain to paint. It's funny. It's one of the things I have a tendency to kind of steer away from because they take so much, but that might look good. Oh, new patron. Welcome, Becky Rhodes. I shouldn't say people's last names, maybe. Welcome, Becky. I guess there's probably lots of Becky Rhodes, so it's not too weird. Well, welcome to Patreon if you're watching. Alice said, my mom has a case of little retro Care Bears. I've been toying with the idea of getting into surrealism, but I'm afraid, come back. I'm afraid of not having that cool kind of creativity in my brain. So here's the funny thing. There's a painting I did years ago. I want to show you the progression of, I decided I wanted to do surreal work before I had any friggin' idea of how to do, like what I was going to do. So I want to show, it would be here and it would be, I need to watch that. I have the light tutorial from Aaron Blaze and I haven't even watched it yet. You can see the file right there. Let's see. What am I looking for? Oh, and I don't know if I don't think it's on this one actually, now that I think about it. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be on here. I don't think I ever moved it on here. Wire fence. No, I think that was years later. So I did this painting and it was called The Source. But okay, maybe it'll be under this because this would have been the file thing. Let's see if I can find it because everything just kind of kept getting put in here because we named it The Source. Actually, a friend who I painted it for named it. I don't know if I have it in here. I don't see it. I think these were all the ones that came after. I don't even think those are royalty-free photos. Those were just things I was using as a guideline for what types of forests look like. I'm hoping it's in here somewhere. It is. Oh, wow. Okay. This is kind of cool because it works for what I'm trying to show you. Let's do this. Oh, and that's as big of a photo as I have because I did not have a good camera back then. So you guys can't even see it. And look at how big my watermark is. Like, oh my God. Really, Lisa? Okay, so we'll blow that up and it's going to look super blurry because that is as big of a photo as I have of that. This is such an old one. This was from, I want to say around 2007 I painted this, I think. A friend had just gotten a new apartment, so this was his housewarming gift. So I wanted something surreal, and this was the first where I really started doing that scene spilling out into a scene. The idea is there. I started there. I was never super happy with anything about this. There's so many things I can sit there and pick apart. This was very, very old, but it was kind of my start. Like I wanted to do something surreal, but I didn't know, like, is this in a cave? What the heck is going on here? I didn't define things well enough that it made sense, but it was the start of an idea. And that's the important thing. You only need the start of an idea for it to progress. And so what was next? After that, and this may not be in order, but after that, we have this one. This is a big jump, and we'll just open it this way, from that. I mean, look at the difference. You need to get out of the way. I've got too many things open between these two. I never, on this one, I didn't have a definite design idea on what are the edges. Why is it dark? Why is it blotchy? What is that edge supposed to be? I knew I wanted something spilling out into this other area. What is going on? I don't know why, like the forest ends at the top of that branch of the tree. I don't understand a lot about where I was going there. I needed time to refine the idea. But I had to start with this lesser idea in order to refine that. So then the next one I did after that with the same concept, now we've got something a little bit more defined. I've got this wood. I'm still kind of obsessed with wood plank like that. So I did the wood plank, like a wood fence, and I made that fade out into the cracked earth because I also went on a phase where that I was obsessed with. Went onto the cracked earth. Then I've got the forest, but now I've got these defined edges. The difference between that And let's move that, it's easier. That is huge. I mean, look at how I refined the concept. I had to do the crap in order to get to something that, and I still love this painting. That one's sold. But I love that concept. And this is, you know, it's a much nicer balance, but I had to do the crap in order to get there. So when you're thinking, well, I'm just not that creative, you've got to do some crap. And you've got to paint some stuff that doesn't look, I paint a lot of stuff that doesn't look good. And that not look good idea leads to something else that's better, but you've got to paint the crap to get to the good stuff. It's a part of the process. Don't expect everything to be like this amazing, genius, creative idea. These lesser ideas lead up to the better ideas and give you an idea of where you want to, I want to see my parents. How cute are my parents? That was when I was teaching at Let's Art Party. I love my mom and my dad, but like, oh, so cute. Anyway, moving on. So then another one, again, more defined. Let's pull this up. There's a winter one. So, you know, I took these ideas. I liked the earth, so we can go back to the crappy one. I liked the concept of the earth with the tree on it. It was poorly executed. But I needed to do that in order to get to this. Okay, what happens if the earth is behind it? And I've done other ones where the earth is on it too. I mean, I'm going to go through and show you where I took a similar idea. Even you can see the branch, that long branch reaching out. I still kept that, but how can I make it better? I needed the crap idea, and it wasn't that the idea was crap. It was poorly executed, but I had to learn what I didn't like about it and what to improve on future pieces by doing that. These are all old videos. There's an old keyboard player, Greg, from, I don't even know why I have that photo of him. I was probably editing it and making fun of him. Oh, yeah, there's another one. I don't even know why I have these. I have to send those to him. He'll laugh. I'm looking through old files. You get random stuff there. So we had that one. Then what did we have? Here was another idea. Same concept, but kind of different. These were paintings. I was trying to find get the royalty for that. Yeah, no, wasn't able to because it costs an arm and a leg if you want to use it in a painting, so I didn't. Instead, I found a photo that I did have rights to, and oh, there's a layout too. I'll show you the layout for this one. So this is something that I do a lot. Actually, that one's a GIF. Here's the layout for the next one, since I couldn't use the couple that I wanted to because I couldn't get rights to it. And where's the finished? Was this the end one? I don't remember. There's the finished painting. So Photoshop layout, same thing I just did tonight, cutting out pieces, putting things together to get an idea of what I want it to look like. And there's the actual painting where it's all tied together. So I like that painting. Where did that go? I don't remember liking it as much as I'm liking it right now looking at it. Like, that could go on my wall. So here I went through a concept where I changed. I've got the wallpaper where it's taped to the artwork is like the paint. There's a drawing or an image taped to the wall and that is spilling out over. So see, again, go back to this whole concept started with this crap. That is not good. But I needed the not good. The not good was a very important step and we have a tendency to want to skip to the end. You can't. You've got to paint the crap to get to the good stuff. So I wanted to just share that to encourage you when you are feeling like, well, I can't come up with something creative. That was my first attempt at something surreal. Besides, I shouldn't say first attempt because I've been doing, I guess you can call them surreal, the underwater scenes. I've been doing those for years. But I wanted to do something that was more with like landscapes and not an underwater scene. And it was a progress. You don't start at the end at any point. Let me see if I've got some more of those. Same concept. Waterfall. No. Off the Paris one would have been off that. There's another painting I did. Same kind of concept. So you can kind of see elements. Here, I managed to make the tree on the earth work. I liked the idea. My execution was very poor years before. So this one I want to say was painted probably 2000. It looks like 2007. Here is 2015. So what, 8 years later, look at the difference. I kept running with that idea that I really liked, but it took time to evolve into this. So you start with your ideas that are like, oh, this is kind of different. We'll do this, and it may not look good, but keep building off that. Don't just give up. No, I'm not creative. I can't come up with something, because if I would have given up when I saw that, I never really loved this. That wasn't very good. So I don't know why I put a watermark on it. No one was going to steal that, but it's a part of the process. I have a ton of these that are based off that, and they're all in the source file, because I did that so much. Then, oh, this is a quick and easy, like, I kind of like this one. Was it this one? Simple, super simple. These were ones I could sell for really quick. It's not even cropped right. But another really simple, really easy wallpaper image. That was like an hour-long painting. It was really fast. Play around with these different ideas. Oh, here was one with greens. That was a different one. Oh, do I not have the finished painting in here? I guess I don't. Weird. Oh, that's just green grass. I had another one with more green tones. All right, see if I can find it. Maybe not. That's weird, because I can see the painting. I see part of the painting, but not the... Okay, that's not the painting I'm thinking of then. I'm just rambling. Do I have any more in here to show you? I was apparently putting a bunch of stuff under here. But anyway, so I think that gives you a pretty good idea of what I'm talking about. You can see the progression there. It's huge. You had to start with the bad one to get to the more unique ideas. But in it, I think here too, this one's a really good example of just how my work also got clean. So that's something that you want to make sure you're doing in your work. Now this of course looks more fuzzy just because I just blew it up by double what the actual thing is. So it's all pixelated. But even when it wasn't, it was blurry. It was out of focus. The work wasn't clean. Whoops, that's not what I meant to hit. Keep your work clean. That makes a difference. That is huge. But just developing that, whatever idea you have, you start lesser than and just keep building. Okay, let's see. Get caught up in some questions. We'll wrap this up. I am apparently very behind. Hold on one second. Yeah, Allison, I'm such a chicken when it comes to trying new art stuff. You got to try it. You just have to jump in. Let's see. Do you know any good resources on painting in acrylic? I can never get the colors right and they look too bright. Currently, I'm using oils that have less problems with. Well, I have my Patreon, of course, you can sign up for and follow along with those videos. So patreon.com/Lachri, you can do that. I mean, of course, I'm going to recommend myself because I don't know why I wouldn't. And YouTube is just a good resource all around. But as far as colors, if your colors are looking too bright, usually tone them down by adding a touch of the complementary colors. Just a quick tip I can give you. Let's say your red is like, wow, that is red. Add a little bit of green. Complementary color is the color that is opposite the color on the color wheel. Just do a Google search for color wheel if you don't know what that is. And whatever is opposite. So yellow and purple, go directly across it. My yellow is a little too bright, or my purple is like, wow, that's purple. And I want it just neutralize it a little bit. Add the complementary color, problem solved. We'll tone that down. What size frame and mat do I need for a 9x12 of Inktense? I can't seem to figure it out. I don't know. It depends on what frame or what mat size. So it depends on if it's standard or not. I'm honestly not sure. You're going to look for a frame or a mat for a 9x12, and I don't know what the dimensions on the outside are because it's kind of an off size. So what I do in that case, because I don't do custom frames because I can't afford custom frames. So, or I could, but then I couldn't buy as many plants. Plants are more important to me than custom frames. So what I do in that case, if it's an odd size, I will cut the mat myself so that it fits the 9x12, but the outside edge I cut to fit whatever standard frame is. So maybe a 16x20 frame. And then the mat might be extra wide or kind of not the same on all sides. The two sides will be the same and the top and bottom will be the same, but not all four, if that makes sense. So that's what I do if it's an off size that I can't, because I don't think that one has a standard. I could be wrong. I don't think so. Scrolling down. Shelly said, if you only knew how many times I hear your words in my head as I work. Yay. You paint very hard, but it's really bad. I have no idea what you're saying there. Hi, Ted said, hi, glad you're back online and humming along. We're praying for you. And Mr. Cloud, thank you. Or we were praying. Thank you. Scrolling through. Danielle said, I love how you keep calling it crap. I mean, it was. Let's see. Scrolling. That would actually make for a good, hold on, I'm screenshotting that. That would make for a good quote. You got to paint the crap to get to the good stuff. I'm saving that. I like this computer. I can easily everything's where I need it to be, more so than my art studio. There's nothing on that computer. Anyway, Angel said, you're my long lost sister because I think like you and as creative too. And I guess someone got kicked out for being, I'm guessing as crappy as that one painting I showed you. Scrolling. Hi, Angela. And scrolling again. What is the difference between using white to tone down a color versus using complementary colors to tone down a color? White doesn't tone it down. White makes it pastel. White makes it more opaque and lighter. So it's not neutralizing or toning it down. It's making it lighter and pastel. Whereas adding a complementary color, you're not changing the value of the color. Your value should stay the same as far as like how light or dark the color is, whereas white is making the value lighter. I hope that makes sense. And pastel. What device are you driving on? This is it's an older Wacom tablet. I got it in like 2016 or 17. Probably 2017, and it was an old model at that point. They may have newer ones out, but it's whatever the big one was from 2017. It does not have, it's not the most like high resolution, but it works. I paid an arm and 3 legs for it. Don't ask where I got the 3rd leg. That's not legal for me to disclose that information. I could get myself in trouble. Anyway, randomness. Okay. The program is Photoshop, Angela. And we're going to wrap this up. We'll get rid of the crap. Let's pull the flamingo back up so we look at something happy. So anyway, make sure to check out our moderators' channels. Nick and Joseph both have channels here. Joseph has been live streaming regularly, which is so much fun. I've missed it the last couple of weeks because my life has not been normal for the last couple of weeks. Looking forward to watching those again. But anyway, make sure to check out their channel, subscribe to them, tell them thank you. They help so much. They keep the trolls out of the channel. So that is very helpful. You can sign up or join our art groups. We've got MeWe. Someone can link it, and it's also linked in the video description, MeWe, and we've got one on Facebook if you want to join us there. And let's see. Someone said, have you tried the Derwent's new ChromaFlow line pencils yet? It is in my studio, but I have not tested them yet. Now, those I believe are the ones that are more for like student grade kids type things. So I'm not going to be able, I wouldn't be judging them the same as I would Derwent Lightfast. So I don't expect them to compete with that. But I am definitely going to be doing a review. So I'll find out how. I have no idea how they blend. I've never even touched them. They're in there. So I will have a review very, very soon. I'll probably be doing one of those in between the Lion, where maybe I'll do that this weekend. That's actually a good idea. And then I can release that video next week. I think I'll do a small project on that in between working on this larger piece. So that will probably be on Patreon, the initial review of the ChromaFlow, and then just a little tutorial. And then the full one coming up. So very, very soon. Thanks, Daryl. I am very glad to be back. Although I am finishing up, so you can go to sleep anyway. I think we're good. Anyway, so I hope this gives you guys an idea of, things you can do to design your own painting, things that make things easier. I think how many times can I say things? But it does really make it much, much easier than trying to just jump in on the painting and realizing, wow, I so wish I hadn't put that octopus's leg there. Like, that just looks weird. I can find out here. I can find out before I ever mess up anything on the canvas. It saves so much time in the long run. So anyway, that is it. Thank you guys so much for joining. I will see you guys Friday. If all goes well and nothing is wrong with the computer in the studio, we'll be working on drawing another Lady Gouldian-Finch, the second one on our piece. And I think that's it. I don't even remember where the buttons are to turn this off. Thank you guys. I'll see you, Friday. And maybe tomorrow. I want to do a video on using rake brushes. If all goes well, I'll film that tomorrow and get the video up for you guys. So hopefully that's going to be a thing. So I'll see you tomorrow, kind of, and Friday. Bye.